morning. We've been out for our walk. Frankie's tuckered out. Molly's over there laying down, cooling off. What a beautiful day. I don't want to be inside, but I have to get on some makeup so I don't scare the children. I've got a few appointments today, so I've got to get on that. So I got to tell you, I'm going to do this morning's reading as soon as I just have a moment of silence. What's the matter? What's the matter? Yeah, he's got allergies. Okay. Yep, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Yes, I did. Oh, hi, baby. Hi, baby. Okay, June 3rd. On a wing and a prayer. When we look at step 6, we have emphasized willingness as being indispensable. That's good. Steps 4 and 5 were difficult, but worthwhile. Now I was stuck on step 6 in despair. I picked up the big book and read this passage. I was outside praying for willingness when I raised my eyes and saw a huge bird rising in the sky. I watched it suddenly give itself up to the powerful air currents of the mountains, swept along, swooping and soaring. The bird did things seemingly impossible for mortal birds to do. It was an inspiring example of a fellow creature letting go to a power greater than itself. I realized that if the bird took back his will and tried to fly with less trust on its power alone, it would spoil its apparent free flight. That insight granted me the willingness to pray the 7th step prayer. It's not easy to know God's will in each circumstance. I must search out and be ready for the currents. And that's where prayer and meditation help. Because I am of myself nothing. I ask God to grant me the knowledge of His will and the power and courage to carry it out today. Oh, I like that because sometimes you do sit in turmoil. Sometimes you're not happy. Sometimes things are difficult. If you're interested in the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's the same steps for all of the anonymous groups. Codependence Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Sex Anonymous, etc. I think there's an anonymous group for just about anything, really. And it's the same steps. They just support each other just a little bit different way, especially in meetings, because alcoholics, we know our sneaky shit. And it's just a little bit of flavor, a little bit different tone than drug addicts. Sometimes a huge difference, right? Like there are alcoholics who are also drug addicts, but some of them are mother's little helpers kind of drug addicts. So they know how to do the pharmacy shop kind of thing, doctor shop kind of thing. But alcoholics or drug addicts from the street, now that's a whole different flavor, right? But when you're in a group of other people kind of like you, there's a certain rhythm or a certain essence that we get each other. Like I get other alcoholics, high bottom, low bottom, in the middle. I'm like, I can usually wrap my mind around where they're at, and we can help each other. Same thing with drug addicts, same thing with porn addicts, same thing with gamblers, same thing with overeaters. We kind of know, like, oh, I remember those days. I remember the comfort of that first bite or that first drink, that joining together of just something greater than myself. And my God, my higher power, was that bottle of booze. It was that box of pizza. It was visiting that gatekeeper of a doctor to my mother's little helpers. So I think if you do the steps, it says 4 and 5 were difficult but worthwhile. Now I was stuck on step 6. It's interesting that so many people don't finish step 6. They might do step 5. And a lot of people say with each step that you work, and you can do these alone at home. You don't have to go to AA meetings or Food Anonymous meetings or Sex Anonymous meetings. You don't have to. You can do this stuff at home if you want. And then you can even jump on, I'll tell you, codependence and Al-Anon meetings are lifesavers for anyone. But you'll see people get progressively more excited about themselves and about the group or about the dynamics of the group, whether you attend or not. My nose is itching, I'm sorry. So with each step, you get progressively more sober. Each person has their own struggle with a certain step. Interestingly enough, as long as I've been around, I've heard very few people talk about 6 and 7. Because 6 and 7 is, after you've done 4 and 5, you're really looking at some of your own shortcomings. And step 6 is about, to me, is about once you make a list of your resentments and also not just what other people did wrong. That's not the point of it. The point is saying, so-and-so did something wrong. What was my part? It's not about blaming. It's about how can I prevent myself from doing this again? Being involved with someone like that again. Being more aware of my choices next time. That I already know I have choices, but I insist on doing it a certain way for a certain reason. Right? 6 is about, am I, and 5 is sharing it and receiving feedback, right? So then 6 is about, okay, have I left anything out? Is there something I don't want to face about myself that is causing me trouble, right? It's the same reason why some people get in the same relationships over and over again. Or they're working on a relationship, but they end up behaving the same way and reacting the same way and usually blaming the other person, right? So I have a lot of clients who will come in because we'll just say they're not getting along with their mom. Well, why aren't you getting along with your mom? Well, she does this wrong, she does this wrong, she does this wrong. Okay, but how are you handling it with her? What's your part? So she's doing this, then what's your response? Let's just, we have a video camera on her already. Let's turn the video camera on you and see how are you handling her misbehaviors, right? That's what we want to look at. What am I doing? The facial expressions, the tone, the body language, the words I'm using, and the way I'm using my words, right? That's what 6 is basically about. And then 7 is about, am I ready to let go of these character defects that cause problems, not just for other people, but ultimately for me? So that's why it's interesting that so many people get stuck on 6 and 7, and they'll even kind of quietly skip over them and then go right on into 8 through 12. Very interesting, very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. So here it says, it's not easy to know God's will in each circumstance. I must search out and be ready for the currents. And that's where prayer and meditation help. You know, here's what's interesting. I'm going to underline that because I'm not sure that God's will has a lot to do with most of my choices. I don't think God cares what my address is. I think God cares what my attitude is. That's the deal. Is what I'm doing in my life affecting my commitment to a way of life that I want to live? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know about my kids if I had some. Right? I don't mind if they're living at a certain address, a certain part of town, as long as they're safe and they're happy. Would I rather them live this way versus that way? Yeah, but as long as they're happy, gosh. That's right. Maybe not happy. The word, I don't want to use the word happy. I want to use the word, are they useful in life? Are they participating in life? Do they wake up every day with sort of a plan, a mission, and go to bed every night with gratitude in their life for the people they know, the job they're doing? Are they satisfied? I think that's where the money's at. You know, I think people overinvest in being happy, 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 when I can be in very unsatisfying living situation and then have it come down to, am I being a monster in this unsatisfying situation? Or am I being a productive human being? Am I behaving as if I'm not happy? Not happy. I'd like to not use the word happy at all. I overinvested in that word for a long time. I like the word satisfied, calm, safe, content, loving, happy. Happy's nice. Happy's like icing on a cake. Because if I have that other stuff, I have a different kind of happy. There's something magical really about the feeling of contentness. And I think the problem is with some people, the problem with me was I drank at people, places, and things that caused me problems. Even if I had a good day, I still drank because I couldn't let go of those negative feelings. But that's also because I had so many secrets. I just wasn't able to find a way to survive without being miserable. I didn't know how to do it. And of course, my body was addicted to it. Every time I did try to not drink, which was for hours, God. Oh, I was such a wuss. I couldn't take the pain of everyday life. If you had my childhood, you'd drink too. Excuse me. Oh, there's just no way to get rid of this itch. Okay, I'm gonna quit complaining. What else was I gonna tell you? So, I think instead of the goal being happiness, one of the most wonderful things that I did for myself is instead of looking for the goal to be happiness, I started looking for the goal for the experiment to feel clean. To feel clean of thought, to not be judging people nasty all the time. Like, you have to judge people, places, and things for safety. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what our parents teach us. That's what God teaches us. To be able to discern where we want to spend our time and energy. Right? Do we want to spend our time and energy jacking off with porn? How is that benefiting anybody? Nobody. And then it feels dirty and secretive. Who does it benefit? How clean is it to be sneaking around drinking, have a bottle hidden under your bed because you don't want to share it with anybody else because sometimes you run low? Who's stealing your alcohol? Is the whole house alcoholics? But some people do that, right? What are we doing that we think we need? And how's that cluttering up the brain? That's the point. It feels all those little weird thoughts just fill the brain. So there's no room for an intuitive thought from God, the universe, from your own soul to say how to handle a stressful situation. Instead, it's straight to the liquor cabinet, straight to the secret hideout to get on the internet for some porn, straight to the water closet to go jack off, whatever it is. Sorry to be crude. I'm just saying these dirty little secrets. And then there's even not just during the event of the eating or drinking or whatever. There's the thinking about it. Then there's the planning. And then there's the excuses. The cover up, time spent. It's a lot. No brain room. There's no room in the brain for peace, sweetness, helping others. And there are people who fool you into thinking they're helping others. Oh, but they volunteer all the time. Oh, they spend their money and donate this and donate that. Okay, but what's their spiritual condition? That's the bottom line. We're not in here, we're not on planet Earth just to volunteer all the time. We're here to be useful, but we're also here to have a journey of, in my opinion. You're doing good. Sorry you're miserable, baby. I think we're supposed to be here to figure out how to spiritually grow. Some people are there. Go ahead and spend your time then donating and volunteering because your heart and your mind's in the right place. There are some people who have that. I'm talking about addicts. People who are addicted to people, places, and things. You don't have to be addicted to a substance. It's about a behavior. It's about a way of thought. If my thinking about using or my thinking about a person is taking up so much space, thinking about being lonely, thinking about how I was abused at one time, it's just all this space being taken up. That's addictive thought. See what I'm saying? It's not about what I'm doing. It's how is what I'm doing affecting my life. Do I have some empty space in my brain left to be able to think about how beautiful the day is? Or how somebody else feels? How's my soul feel? Do I have a way to just be glad that I have what little I have? Some people are like, well, I don't have as much as so-and-so. Well, so-and-so didn't have the same journey. And here's the thing, too. Some of us are just more hard-headed than others. I didn't learn my journey. I didn't learn some of the lessons I've already learned easily. I'm one of the hard-headed people you'll ever meet. My gosh. There are some things that I have learned, and it has rewarded my life immensely. And then there are some things that I've struggled learning. I've really struggled learning some things, a few things, maybe one or two. But those one or two things caused me a lot of problems. Like, I have not been able to train myself to have a kind voice when I'm frustrated. It sounds okay most of the time, but every once in a while I still lose control and will be a little sarcastic. And then I have to admit to it and then apologize. But man, wouldn't it be nice if I never ever did that anymore? Because I already know it doesn't work well, but every once in a while it just comes out like Tourette's. Like, oh, really? People don't want to hear that. It's like, somebody said that they just finally stopped beating up their husband emotionally and financially. And 2 weeks later, it's like, I told him I want to have another baby because things are going so well. Like, oh. I don't know what to say. Well, we haven't talked much since. I just didn't know what to say. Sometimes I don't have it in my system to be as good of a person as I want to be. I don't get paid enough. I'm too old to work in certain situations. I don't get paid enough for it. Not at this age. I need to be paid much, much more for me to have that attitude that would make me feel proud of myself. It's too much work sometimes. So we don't have to change everything about ourselves. I'm not saying perfection. I'm saying progress. Am I too spicy for my own good? Sometimes, yes. But I'll tell you, have you ever heard anybody say, I'm better than I used to be? True story. I wish I had better eyebrows. Oh well. You get what you get, right? So, anyway. That's really all I have to say. Just keep me company while I finish up my makeup. I don't have much more to do. I don't know. What would I do if I started behaving the way I used to behave when I was younger? Mouthy, always sarcastic. Well, partly because I thought I was the funniest person on the planet. If you could be up here, you'd be laughing too, kind of thing. Because I'm a hoot. But I am kind of funny, but not like I used to be. I don't even think that way anymore. The things that made me so facially expressive when I was younger, all the things going on in my head, you couldn't tell exactly what I was thinking, but sometimes you could. All you knew was that I was obviously judging somebody. Yeah. So being a therapist, I had to start, thank goodness, I was already sober by the time I got into the business and was working diligently on changing my attitude. I just wanted to have a clear brain. I wanted to have that peace and serenity people talked about. And the only way I could do that is to stop thinking about shit all the time. People, places, and things. Past traumas, past resentments, past this, past that. Thinking about how lonely I was all the time. Loneliness is a killer. People don't take it seriously enough. I'm surprised I didn't commit suicide. That's the truth. I didn't. And I think it's because of AA. It helped me find a way to live. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll get shut down because I said the S word. Sorry. But if you ever feel like you're just tired of it, don't stop the conversation. Keep talking. Find somebody. That's what's important. God, I hate all the people that have gone and they're just, there was another conversation to be had. I would have missed out on a lot had I done it, had I finished the job. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't do it. I'm glad I'm here. Am I always happy? No. But now I don't need to be like that all the time. I can just be grateful. Oh, grateful is the sweetest type of happy. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. This is close to acceptable. I shouldn't be scaring the children with the amount of Bondo I have on here. Well, got anything out of this? Yay. All right, I'm going to go get to work. You just behave yourself. Do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing. I'm doing the best I can with what I have to work with. Oh, here's another little tip for you. So, you know I love my coffee. Well, I have been drinking different types of coffee, experimenting with different types of coffee. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with me? I'm so itchy. I have some things going on in my personal life that I need to explore. People growing up, moving away, and going through things. And it's making me think about final plans and wills and different things like that, you know, older people stuff. So anyway, I was just feeling so edgy. And then I was pouring another cup of coffee, and a couple things happened at once. I had a memory pop out about one time when I got off of coffee completely. I mean, I just quit drinking it because I was so edgy and agitated all the time. Someone said you have to stop this, and you have to start doing this and this. And I think it was stop drinking coffee, and stop talking so much. Because I would rile myself up just by talking. Right? Have you ever seen somebody do that? There are some people who talk and venting helps calm them down. But believe it or not, that's not the majority of people. The majority of people, if you just, hi. If you just slow down and breathe, that will calm you down. And just spend time with another person, that will calm you down. And I had to start getting some sleep. And what was the other thing? I can't think of it. Anyway, so I was pouring in a cup of coffee, and I had this memory. I hadn't thought about it for years, but I don't know why I didn't realize that when I started drinking coffee again, I wasn't drinking very much. I was just drinking like a small cup, and it wasn't bothering me. Well, then I started drinking bigger and bigger cups. Then I started making iced coffee on the hot days, and refilling my cup throughout my work day. And I started getting that edgy feeling again. And then I decided, okay, I hate to give it up, especially all that tasty, high-calorie stuff that I mix in there. Yummy. Started drinking tea, and you know what? I feel better. I feel a little better. I feel better. You ever watch Monty Python, Holy Grail? I love that Holy Grail movie. Also, here's some homework for you, if you feel like it. Start making a list of the thoughts that go through your head, that spin around, and that come in and out all day long. It's interesting. I want you to write them down. That way you can look at where you're spending that time and energy, and then you can find out, is there room in there? Can I make some room for other thoughts of gratitude and peace and the next little baby step to go forward in your life, right? Not to be happy, but to be useful to yourself, not just to other people, but useful to yourself. A lot of people say, oh, I can't do that, or I'm stuck, or whatever. It's like, well, at some point there could be choices. What do you have to do? One little baby step to someday make it a little easier to make that choice if you have to. I don't know. Gotta go. Mwah. Bye for now.